Hello, it's Diana Ward again, your friendly neighborhood therapist. I am back today wanting to return to a topic that we started yesterday about CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. As we talked yesterday, CBT basically starts with this idea that all of these things here are interrelated. Our feelings, our thoughts, our behaviors. And if we're struggling to change one, we can work to change the others to eventually change the one that we're struggling with. So yesterday we worked through an example with guilt. Today I want to take a look at a little bit different example. Another one that I find is pretty common that people struggle with. Today I want to look at the feeling of being unworthy. And yesterday we looked at challenging both thoughts and behaviors, but today I really want to zero in on thought challenges. Thought challenges are a tricky thing. If you've been in therapy before, you've probably been told before to just challenge the thought. Sure, just challenge the thought. If only it worked that way, right? If we could just challenge the thought, we would all probably feel a lot better. The problem is that when we say the opposite of the thought, we don't really believe it. And so it doesn't change the way we feel. So let's look at a version of this. Let's kind of break this down to see how thought challenges can be effective. Now, I always tell my clients that I'm working with, we're not going to do any BS thought challenges. We're only going to do thought challenges that you either currently believe or that you truly believe you could get to a place where you believed it. So let's work with this idea of unworthy because it is a really tough one to challenge. So let's say that the primary thought with unworthy is, I'm not good enough. I also think this is a good one to work with because who hasn't felt this way, at some point in their life? But this one is a hard one to challenge because the logical thing to just say is, well, I'm good enough. If you don't believe that, though, it's not really doing any good. So what we can do with this is we can kind of think of challenges that would be in between the opposite. So just to give this a visual, let's put this on a continuum, right? We got this big continuum from not good enough over here, to good enough. Now, over the course of therapy, we are hoping to make forward movement towards good enough, where you legitimately and inherently feel good enough. But where you come into therapy is probably not there. So if where you are coming into therapy is here, it's not really fair of me to ask you to jump to here right away. But could we work to a place where you get to here? What would that look like? What would a thought challenge that is one step away from not good enough look like? Well, it can look like all different kinds of things. Something that I find with my clients a lot is that they personally don't feel good enough, but they do hold a belief that everyone has inherent worth. Let's start there then. That's something we can work with. It opens the door. So let's say our first challenge is everyone has worth. Okay. Then let's work to get eventually one step from there. What might be one step further? Could you get behind the idea, I am everyone, you are everyone? Let's try that. I am everyone. Okay. What would be one step further? What would be one step further? Could it be, if everyone has worth, then in theory, I have worth. All right, now we're talking. We're getting closer. Let's keep going. What would potentially be another step further? Let's start to turn that theory into something more concrete. Maybe you still can't get behind the idea that I have worth, therefore I'm good enough. But can you get behind the idea I can learn to feel I have worth? That might be a good starting place. Good place to get us a little bit further. Let's try another step. All right. If we were at I can learn to feel I have worth, then what might be the next logical step? How about this? I want to feel like I have worth. I love that word want. I want to feel like I have worth. I like that word want because it starts to get into motivation. It starts to get into choice. That I can do things. I can choose to do things to show I have worth, to prove to myself I have worth. I can treat myself like I have worth, even on the days I don't believe it. That may give us our next challenge. Okay, let's take a step further. I can treat myself like I have worth. And guess what? If we treat ourselves like we have worth, we treat ourselves like that long enough, what we've actually done is we've come back to the behavior part of CBT. Now, we've gone through a progression of thought challenges. We're getting more and more behind it. Now we are also acting as though this thought challenges are true, which is likely to change the feeling. And that's probably going to take me the last bit I need to get to the last challenge. The last challenge. I have worth, and therefore I'm good enough. We don't have to get there overnight. We can do it step by step, trusting the process, doing the work, changing our behavior, and eventually we'll get there.